Also, I did buy some yarn. Confession time. Hi, it's Sonia here with Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So we are now in October, and I've been working on a series called Bust My Stash, which I'm trying to see how much yarn I can use up in a year. And I have a lot of yarn, so that's why I'm doing this series. And I did another one in 2020, and so I can link that playlist if you're interested. And I did go through a bit of yarn, but then I got more, which is not a bad thing. But you know, I was looking at my stash this year, and it's like, I really need to do something about it. Really challenge myself to see what I can make. And I've made some things. It's just, I feel like I'm not as productive as I was in 2020, but my life has changed an awful lot since 2020. My husband died in 2021, so that definitely has, made things more challenging, and I'm a lot busier now than before. I mean, I was busy then, but now, like, everything with the house falls on me, and so, he had his jobs, I had my jobs, and now I have all the jobs. So that definitely eats into my crochet and knitting time, but I try to do the best that I can. So if this is your first time joining me, I often do videos mostly about crochet, but I have some knit things, and I do pattern tutorials, and I have done stitch tutorials, and now I'm doing this series. So today's video is an update, and I will show you the bin of yarn that I chose for September. So every month I choose a bin of yarn, and then I see what I can make out of it, and I'll even pick from other bins from months past, because a lot of yarn that I just have like little bits of yarn here and there, so not often enough to make, like, let's say a blanket. But then I will show you the bin for October. So also I'll show you some things that I have made, if I've made anything, so I will show you some projects that I have made, and I don't have any that are in progress. I do have some that are in progress, but one is a top secret one that I don't want on here right now. I'll show it to you later, but it's top secret. And then another one, I've been working on it a while. It's the Tunisian blanket, and you've seen it. We're not very far on that. I usually tend to work on that one when I go to my knit crochet group at my church. I'm in charge of a knit crochet group. So yeah, but I was away for part of September. I went to Chincoteague, which was really fun. And also my oldest daughter is getting married now, and her wedding is soon. So we are busy. So it's been like full stop wedding, and I'm also trying to teach my youngest daughter how to drive and get her a job, and it just never ends. So trying to do this crochet thing and knit thing, other things take priority. But I was able to make 2 things for the month of September, and also I did buy some yarn. Confession time. I know this whole purpose of this series is to not buy yarn, but I was in Chincoteague, and there was this really neat local yarn store. I went to Chincoteague with my mom and my sister, and my mom, she loves to crochet as well, and she wanted to visit this yarn store, and she didn't have to twist my arm. So of course I like to try to support local businesses if I can, and this definitely was a local business. And I know it's harder if you live on an island or like a touristy area, in those months where the tourist season slows down. So, I thought I want to give her some business. That's my excuse of buying more yarn. But I got some really pretty yarn, so I will show you that. So the first one I'll show you is this green yarn. And it's really nice. It was only $3. She had this like $3 bin, and most of the yarn on that $3 bin, it wasn't like a favorite. It was this weird acrylic yarn that, I mean, I like some acrylic yarn, but it looked like it was, I think it was like a DK weight or a fingering weight, and like you were supposed to use it for making a shawl or maybe socks too, but I don't really like making socks with acrylic yarn, to be honest. I like a natural fiber, but yeah, the yarn, I think it was mostly meant to be for a shawl. And I like to use natural fibers when I make a shawl, or an acrylic natural fiber mix, because shawls most times are lacy or more detailed when you stitch them, and so they need to be blocked. Acrylic just doesn't block that well. It just doesn't. And so that's why I didn't buy that acrylic $3 yarn, even though they had some really pretty colorways. But I have plenty of acrylic yarn, so I'm like, I don't need that. But this yarn here is called Lynn Silk from Elsebeth Levold. I'm not sure if I said that right, but it has linen, viscose, and silk. And so definitely more of a natural fiber, and I think I will make a shawl out of this guy. And yeah, it's made in Argentina, and I really just thought the color was pretty. I like green, and it's pretty soft. Like, it's definitely, you know, like linen can sometimes, it'll have like little things poking out of it, and it definitely has that more, I guess I call it rustic feel, and this yarn definitely is like that, but you know, that's fine, and it should wear pretty well, and it will block fine. And my next one that I did pick up was this bamboo pop sock yarn from Universal Yarn here, and it is so soft. I thought the colors were really pretty. They remind me of like oceany type colors, you know, and we were at Chincoteague, we were going to the beach, so I was inspired. And this yarn is, you know, it's a sock weight yarn, which I am definitely going to make a shawl out of this one for sure. Sorry, I got interrupted. My son was leaving for work and wanted to say goodbye to me, which he always does that, and I really appreciate that. He's 20 years old now, but he always still takes the time to say goodbye to me, and it's really nice now because I don't have a husband to say goodbye to me anymore. But we're not going to get into that. So anyway, I have this, I got this bamboo pop sock yarn, and I said I was going to make a shawl out of it, and it is so soft. It's going to be, I think it's just going to make a really pretty shawl. It's made out of bamboo and cotton, so definitely will block really well, and these colors were just calling out to me. And the yardage is 492 yards, so definitely enough to make a shawl. And the yardage for this green guy, I think it's 219 yards, so definitely enough to make something out of this one. And then I did buy one more. You know, I'm supporting a local business. And this yarn was, I think, actually spun on Chincoteague. It's Chincoteague colors, and it's Carradine Farms, and it says on here Chincoteague Island. So definitely wanted to get a yarn that was native to Chincoteague to really support the local businesses on there. And this is a beautiful like teal greens, like kind of like tonal color greens on here, and it is merino, silk, and cashmere. And so I just couldn't pass this one up. It's so pretty and so soft, and it has 437 yards. So again, I will probably make a shawl out of this one too. I've kind of been like inspired by shawls. I made that crescent shawl that was that of linen, and I made another one, and it really turned out well. So I'm kind of like dusting off my shawl pattern making skills. I hadn't made a shawl in years, and I have been enjoying. Actually wore the one recently because it was linen. It was like a chillier night and I had to go out, and I was, you know, I hate having cold neck, so I do like shawls, scarves, cowls, all that stuff. So I was like, I need to make more. So I have 2 projects to show you. So I did finish 2 things in September. Like I said, just not super productive, but I was able to get 2 things done. And we also had a local fair, 2 local fairs. September was fair season, so I did enter both of the items in the fair. And I did enter some other things that I'm not showing you because I've showed them to you in the past, like an 18-inch doll. Like I made a Snow White dress, and I got first place on that at the one fair, and I got no place at the other fair for that. But that was a weird category, because the one fair had a specific category for doll clothing, and the other fair, that category was lumped together with stuff like, you know, stuffed animals, anything toy related, doll clothes, stuffed animals, anything like that. Or if you made an actual doll, it was kind of an odd category to lump all of those things together because I really didn't think that was fair. And of course, this very elaborate stuffed animal one, which it rightfully did if you're like looking at the whole category, but I really think there should be a separate doll clothes category and then a separate stuffed animal category. But you know, I don't run the fair and that's fine. And the one that did win, I mean, so it was I think it was an octopus, and it was excellently done. It was very cool and, you know, definitely a worthy winner. But the first thing I have to show you is a blanket, and I will be having this pattern out probably maybe before this video comes out. It's a blanket pattern. It's a baby blanket pattern. I actually started it in 2020, probably a couple months before my husband got sick and passed away, and I was working on the editing and all that stuff, and then he started with his infections, and then I just kind of I just didn't feel like finishing it, I guess, maybe because it was a reminder of, you know, him, and like I was working on it before, I don't know, but I, you know, revisited it, and I thought, you know, I really need to finish this blanket pattern. So here is, it's probably not showing up well, like I really didn't plan this out. I have dark background, dark shirt, and then this is a navy blue yarn, and this is going to be called the Sylvia blanket. I was going to try to make a series of blankets named after special kids in my life, and there is a special little girl named Sylvia in my life, so this is inspired by her. And so I have this one, and I have made two other ones where I just added this white because I actually didn't have enough of this blue sparkle yarn. It actually has sparkles in it. I don't know if it's showing up well, but I was going to make the whole thing in this dark blue yarn, and I realized I really wanted the edging to be the navy, and I thought I'm not gonna have enough yarn, so I just stuck the white in there so that I could stretch it to get creative. But this pattern will have two different edging options for this. So this is the more detailed edging, like a lacy edging, so this would be very suitable for a little girl. And then there's another edging option that is more plain, simple, and that would be very suitable for a little boy, or if you're not into like the frilly type thing like this one. And the simpler one definitely works up faster than this one. So this video of this blanket, to make the main part, like that stitches up really fast, but the edging is definitely, you know, a bit more tedious. It's definitely not hard, but it requires a little bit more patience, a little bit more time for this lacy thing. So if you've seen the video up and you're like, it's an hour long, it's long, but most of that is the lacy edging. This part, it's really, you know, I think it's like a 2-row repeat to make the body of the blanket. It works up pretty quickly, and then we have the edging. So I did go into quite a bit of detail with the lacy edging, and then the simpler edging of that, you know, that's pretty short because it's not too much, very basic stitches. But so yeah, this pattern will be coming out. I do have a written version that I am currently working on. So yeah, and you'll be able to use this with a variety of yarns. Like this is a worsted weight yarn, but I did make one with decate weight yarn, so if you don't have worsted weight available, you know, it's a blanket. It doesn't have to be an exact gauge. As long as, I always say, like for blankets, some people get really hung up on gauge, and sometimes you need to. Sometimes you need to. Like if you're making a sweater and you're trying to make a specific size, you kind of need to be hung up on gauge a little bit. You know, not crazy. Like if you're like in the ballpark, you know, you should be fine. But for a blanket, a scarf, if it's a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, you know, it's okay. And this is, you know, definitely more for a baby. You could also use this as like a throw blanket, a lap gan, you know, maybe for someone that's in a wheelchair. This one would be a really suitable blanket. So maybe my mom might want to she makes things for nursing homes. So hi Mom, if you're watching this, maybe you'll want to make this pattern for one of your nursing homes that you make things for. She also runs a crochet group with her church, and my mom doesn't live near me, so I have one in my area, and then she has one at her church. We're not affiliated at all together. It's just kind of coincidental that we both have these groups. And she makes things for nursing homes. Usually she'll make shawls and wraps for nursing homes. And I've been making baby blankets for mine, and we actually are going to be making some hats and like wintry type things because we're heading into winter, and our church does do like a hat, like a hat Christmas tree thing where people can bring in hats, mittens, gloves, scarves, you know, I think it goes to, there is a homeless ministry that's probably like a half an hour or so from where I live, and so I think that's where that stuff's going. I'm not sure, or maybe it's going to be kind of scattered throughout the community. I'm not sure, but you know, we'll let the church handle that. I'm sure that it'll get to those hats and mittens and gloves and all that. We'll get to where it needs to. But yeah, she does that, and then I do mine. So, but yeah, this would definitely be suitable for like a Afghan for a nursing home. So I have one more project to show you, and I think I showed this one at the previous video. I'm not sure. I was working on it. Actually, no, I don't think I've shown this one. I'm getting confused because my mom saw me working on it when in Virginia when we were in Chincoteague, and she was like, "Are you gonna have a pattern for that?" Which I am. I have filmed it. I need to finish it up with the filming. So here it is. This is a shawl that I made. Absolutely love the way it turned out. And this guy got first place, and I'm very pleased that it got first place. I only entered it in the one fair. It wasn't finished for the other fair, so I wanted to have it for both, but I didn't get it done in time. So, but this is made out of that, I just found out how to pronounce it. It's called Hobie yarn. I popped up on my Instagram and of how to pronounce, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the hobby yarn. Well, it's actually pronounced Hobie. So this is made with that Hobie yarn. I think it's called Cotton King or Cotton Twirls or something like that. But I'm sure you've seen that yarn where it's kind of made up of a whole bunch of little strands, and then they have these beautiful gradient patterns in the yarn. So this was made out of that. And if you are a newer stitcher, I might not recommend you trying that yarn out for the first time because it's a very loose twist. A lot of yarns have a very tight twist, and if you've heard the term splitting, this guy would definitely splitting with a capital S. So if you're, you know, not familiar with that type of yarn, this one might be a little bit of a challenge for you because I wrestled with it a little bit. Sometimes it kind of got knotted up in the skein, which was really annoying. It was pulling out really beautifully. We're just stitching along, not a problem, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm just like, and I have to spend like a half an hour straightening it out because I didn't really want to cut it because it's a lot of yardage, like maybe 800 yards or something, so definitely plenty for a shawl. So I really only wanted to have like the one end in the beginning, one end in the end, and you know, that's it to weave in. So I was able to straighten her out and get this guy done, and I used up almost the whole skein of yarn. And the nice thing with this shawl pattern is you will be able to use a variety of yarns. You can make it as large or as small as you would like. So I use this yarn, I would say it's probably like a fingering weight yarn, maybe in between a fingering and a decate weight. Like, I don't think it's a true fingering weight. I feel like it's slightly heavier. And then I used I think it was, what did I use? A G hook, 4.25 millimeter hook. But if you wanted to make it in thread, you could certainly do that, and you know, use size 10 thread. There's number 3, number 5. You know, if you wanted to make it in, you know, heavier yarn, worsted weight, you can certainly do that. You know, just choose your hook size according to the yarn that you've chosen, and again, make it as large or small as you want. And it's not too hard. It looks pretty detailed, but once you get going with the pattern, I think you wouldn't have too much problems with the repeats. But yeah, these are all the projects that I have for you, and the next things that you will see are the yarn bins, or the yarn crates. We have crates this time, so I will show you the September crate, and then I will show you the October crate. So here we go. Here is the September crate we have, and really there is not a whole lot of difference in here. I'm not even sure if I used any yarn out of here. Actually, I might have used some for this blanket that I've been working on forever, the Tunisian one that I've shown a couple times, which I haven't shown in this video because I feel like I've shown it a couple times. But as you can see, still quite a lot of work to do. I need to, this would be a nice one for a blanket or something like that. I completed one blanket, as you saw in the video, so maybe this should be inspiration for me to work on more blankets. And especially here's this abandoned project that was for my niece. I need to refigure that one. But now I will show you the October bin. Okay, so here we go. We have the October crate. I've moved on to crates instead of bins here. And so what we have going on here is an abandoned project. This is some very fine, it's a real pretty bright pink, and it's almost like cobweb lace. And I started to make a shawl, as you can see here, and it just wasn't working out. It was a prototype. I thought it was going to work. I love this stitch, but I just couldn't quite get it to do what I wanted, so I stopped, and I need to rethink that one. But we have some just plain white here, worsted weight yarn. Oh, here we go, homespun. Oh my goodness. I actually have a bunch of homespun somewhere. This type of yarn, I feel like it's just best for blankets. It's not great for clothing or anything that needs to really retain its shape, because homespun tends to grow. So if your blanket gets a little bigger, that's okay. And it's super soft, so it is very nice for blankets, but I don't think it's much good for anything else. And here we have some more worsted weight yarn here. Pretty mint green, and then this is some, feels like Caron Simply Soft, the original Caron Simply Soft back in the day, in the 90s. The skeins were, as you can see, I would use this for something and took it apart, but the skeins were pretty substantial. Now when you buy Caron Simply Soft, it's pretty small as everything. Like, you know, when you buy like ice cream, when I was growing up, you know, ice cream, a half a gallon was a half a gallon. Now, you know, it's not. And here we have, let's see, some cotton yarn here, so maybe some kitchen type items to use with that. But this is the October bin, and we'll see what we can do. Hopefully we can be a little more productive in October than September. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.
Hi. Made anything, which, sorry, I feel like my hair is attacking me here. But I